Did you know that blood flow is directly impacted by sugar? When taken in excess, it increases the risk of vascular diseases that limit blood flow to the lower limbs. The leg muscles receive less oxygen and nutrients when there is poor circulation. Muscle healing is slowed, and tissue renewal is impeded. Enjoying a dessert might be too costly for your well-being. In addition to having metabolic effects, sweets lack essential elements for healthy muscles, like proteins and magnesium. In other words, you're consuming empty calories that do the opposite of strengthening your body. One of the biggest obstacles to mobility in old age is the loss of muscle mass brought on by this type of unbalanced diet. If you feel that your legs are getting weaker, the solution can be as simple as a piece of cake or pie. Your power and independence may be threatened by what appears to be a harmless habit. Additionally, the majority of factory-produced sweets contain chemical ingredients that worsen inflammation, such as dyes and preservatives. These factors quickly affect the muscular system and upset the body's natural homeostasis. They make an extremely unhealthy combination when combined with sugar. The substitution of natural substitutes for these sweets, such as cinnamon on fruit or homemade pastries with less sugar, is already a big step. Dessert is still an option, but you should make better choices that respect your health. You will be appreciated by both your taste buds and your legs. 14. Fried foods are difficult to avoid, but it's impossible to ignore the damage they cause to the body after age 60. These foods increase the body's inflammatory indicators because they are high in trans and saturated fats. Because of the direct effects of this inflammation on the muscles and joints, the legs become rigid, more uncomfortable, and more vulnerable to harm. The fat in fried foods also obstructs blood flow, making it more difficult for muscles to get oxygen. The body's ability to recover and get stronger is taken away by poor circulation. Another issue with fried food is that it might obstruct blood vessels. This further limits the flow of essential nutrients to the muscles in the legs. This process accelerates joint wear and erodes the body's support over time. Foods like donuts, chicken nuggets, and French fries are among the major offenders. I want to know where you are with me today before we start. Please feel free to ask any questions you may have and leave a comment below. To ensure you always receive the best health advice from Senior Health Tips, don't forget to click the subscribe button and turn on notifications. I also want to know if you're watching right now. If this video speaks to you, please leave a type 1 comment. If your legs start to feel weaker, heavier, or sore after the age of 60, you may need to take one of the 2 most dangerous vitamins for leg weakness. Note that simply standing for extended periods of time is becoming challenging, as is walking or climbing stairs. If so, exercise extreme caution. What I'm about to demonstrate in this video might surprise you and help you understand exactly why this is happening. This issue is caused by consuming several unhealthy foods, 2 vitamins that are surprisingly thought to be essential for good health, and a combination of 2 factors that weaken your legs. It's true that vitamins that everyone says are good for you can really weaken your muscles, strain your joints, and make your legs feel awkward, vulnerable, and unsteady. What's the scariest part? These risks are present in every aspect of your life. Each drink and bite may be feeding your weakness. However, it continues. You will be amazed by these 2 vitamins that you may be taking at the moment. You probably buy them at the pharmacy with the best of intentions, thinking you're protecting yourself, taking care of your health, and strengthening your bones. But in reality, you're speeding up muscle loss and weakening your legs. The truth about these meals and medications will be exposed in this movie. You'll be able to identify the true cause of the persistent pain, stiffness, edema, and fatigue. Above all, you will learn what to do differently and what to avoid going forward in order to regain your strength, energy, and independence. Do you want to age well and keep your legs strong for years to come? Then stick with me through to the very end. 15. Sweets and sugary desserts. Sweets and desserts have long been associated with pleasure and coziness. However, around age 60, this habit may start to negatively impact the health of your legs. Consuming too much refined sugar causes the body to react inflammatorily, especially in the joints and muscles. Legs with chronic inflammation are more prone to degeneration, discomfort, and sensitivity. Moreover, increased insulin resistance, which saps muscle energy, is directly linked to sugar. When muscles don't have enough energy, they become weaker and less effective. Consuming too much sugar also contributes to weight gain, which strains the legs. Your lower body muscles and joints must exert more effort with each extra pound. Carrying excess weight exacerbates lower extremity wear and tear, pain, and weakness. This is particularly troubling for older adults who naturally lose muscle mass as they age. Additionally, sugar causes the body to produce more toxins, which exacerbates inflammatory responses. It is more difficult to keep your legs firm and functional the more inflammation there is. Type 0, otherwise. These products seriously overburden the circulatory and skeletal systems when consumed often. The taste isn't worth the health risks. Have you ever noticed that your legs felt heavier and more sore after eating a lot of fried food for dinner? This is your body's reaction to the excess of bad fats. The lengthy digestion of these foods consumes a lot of energy. Less is thus available for the muscles. Leg fatigue may be a direct result of this diet. Additionally, consuming fried food on a regular basis has been linked to weight gain, which makes the tension on the lower extremities even worse. Breaking it is really hard. Additionally, fried foods are deficient in vitamins, minerals, and proteins, which makes them less effective at building muscle. This type of food leads to an imbalance in the diet, which promotes muscle loss. Legs that have less muscle become less stiff and stable. This impacts your ability to walk safely, climb stairs, and carry weight. One of the simple things you can do to maintain your mobility and freedom is to avoid fried foods. You can save your legs by substituting healthier cooking methods for fried foods. White bread is a common breakfast and snack food, but its effects on the body, especially beyond age 60, are far from benign. It is made from refined flour and undergoes a process that eliminates the majority of the fiber and essential nutrients. Because of this, it is a carbohydrate that is rapidly absorbed and elevates blood glucose levels. These spikes have a direct effect on the health of the muscles, especially the legs, which leads to fatigue and weakening. Metabolic imbalance results from regular feeding. Due to its poor fiber content and high glycemic index, white bread also contributes to insulin resistance. This affects the energy and power needed for daily tasks by preventing glucose from entering muscle cells. The less energy they receive, the harder it is to maintain their leg muscles' rigidity. This may progress to a decrease of muscle mass, which is a rather normal aspect of aging. In this instance, white bread ceases to be a neutral food and instead becomes irritating. The effects of white bread go beyond glucose. Due to its low protein and mineral content, it doesn't actually aid in muscle rehabilitation. Elderly people need more proteins to avoid sarcopenia, which is the progressive loss of muscle. An error that depletes the body meal by meal is ingesting white bread every day and ignoring other protein sources. Legs that are unresilient, tired, and unsteady may arise from this. In addition to not nourishing, white bread promotes weight gain, especially when combined with cheeses, butter, or sweets. Being overweight puts strain on the legs, which are already increasingly brittle as people age. Inflammation, pain, and a higher chance of injury ensue. Rather than promoting mobility, white bread restricts it. Even if each bite could seem harmless, the overall harm from poor eating habits is what matters most. Thankfully, there are many of better and more nutrient-dense alternatives. Whole grain breads, which are made from grains like rye, flaxseed, and oats, or are naturally fermented, offer healthy fibers and nutrients. They help to balance blood sugar, improve digestion, and indirectly strengthen muscles. They produce balanced meals when paired with proteins and good fats like avocado or eggs. You can choose better without giving up bread. The two worst vitamins that affect your legs are still in this film. 12th, alcohol use becomes increasingly more hazardous as one ages, particularly when taking into account the condition of the leg's muscles and joints. The body becomes less effective in metabolizing alcohol after the age of 60, which increases its negative effects. The difficulty in absorbing essential minerals, such as calcium, magnesium, and vitamin D, is one of the main outcomes. Without these elements, the bones become brittle and the muscles weaken, increasing the risk of fractures and falls. Additionally, alcohol directly prevents muscles from healing. This suggests that the body needs longer time to repair the tissues after any physical activity, which results in prolonged discomfort, fatigue, and a higher risk of injury. Additionally, the drink dehydrates the body, which reduces muscle flexibility and encourages uncomfortable cramping in the legs. Alcohol also affects liver function, which is linked to the production of substances that are essential for tissue health. There is also a strong correlation between drinking and weight gain. Even at modern levels, alcoholic beverages promote the development of belly fat and are extremely high in calories. This additional weight puts stress on the legs and puts more strain on the joints, which makes it harder to walk. When combined with the aging-related loss of muscle mass, this can have disastrous consequences for mobility and quality of life. Have you noticed that, after a night of drinking, your body feels more worn out and achy when you wake up? That is an indication of the stress alcohol places on the joints and muscles. Frequent use causes the body's inflammatory levels to rise, exacerbating pain and decreasing motivation for exercise. This habit significantly impairs the body's ability to stay active and healthy over time. And in a moment, I will reveal which 2 vitamins can make your legs weaker. 11th, processed meats are part of many people's daily routines for convenience, yet they conceal serious health risks, especially for elderly people. Foods like bacon, ham, and sausages, which are high in sodium and chemical preservatives, promote chronic inflammation all over the body. This type of inflammation affects the joints and results in persistent pain in the knees, ankles, and leg muscles. The stiffness people feel when they wake up may be directly tied to these foods. Another disadvantage of processed meats is their high saturated fat content. This fat impairs circulation, increases negative cholesterol, and reduces muscle blood flow. Inadequate irrigation hinders the preservation and regeneration of the leg muscles by depriving them of oxygen and nourishment. The result is a progressive weakening of the lower extremities, which finally limits the ability to do fundamental everyday duties. These meals also contribute to the buildup of toxins in the body, which puts strain on the kidneys and liver. These organs play a critical role in removing toxins that accumulate and cause muscle fatigue. It has also been demonstrated that the preservatives in processed meats alter glucose metabolism, reducing the amount of energy available to muscles. Once again, the effect is felt directly in the legs as persistent fatigue and weight. Elderly folks occasionally choose these foods for convenience, but at this point in their lives, dietary attention should be doubled. The convenience may come at a high cost in terms of quality of life. A crucial first step in preserving muscle strength and health is selecting nutritious proteins like eggs, chicken, fish, and lean cuts of beef. Simple replacements make all the difference. Replace the sausage with fried eggs, the ham with shredded chicken breast, and the bacon with avocado or olive oil. The body begins to adapt to these changes. The legs get more vital and lighter. It's a fair balance between freedom and flavor, between enjoyment and longevity. Instant noodles appear to be the best option for those looking for convenience, despite their worrying effects on the body, especially after the age of 60. This is the result of a fast meal that is largely made up of refined flour and chemical additives that have comparatively little nutritional value. A high-calorie meal deficient in micronutrients, fiber, and proteins, all of which are essential for maintaining muscle mass. Leg and mobility degradation is a direct result of this type of diet over time. The extremely high salt content of fast noodles is one of its primary disadvantages. You might get more than half of the recommended daily intake of this mineral with a single dish. Excessive salt causes fluid retention, which swells and hurts the legs. Additionally, it raises blood pressure, which prevents the muscles from receiving enough blood flow. Muscle tissue that has poor circulation also becomes weak, malnourished, and recovers from activities more slowly. Another reason to be concerned is the chemical additives used in the flavors that go with the noodles. Monosodium glutamate, pigments, and preservatives are frequently linked to chronic inflammatory conditions. These inflammations accelerate muscle degeneration and affect joint function, even in mild cases. As a result, people who consume this type of diet eventually experience discomfort, stiffness, and limitations in their movement more frequently in their daily lives. The impact on metabolism is also very significant. Noodles with less fiber have a higher glycemic index, which elevates blood sugar levels. Insulin activity is impacted by glucose instability, which hinders muscles' capacity to use energy efficiently. When muscles don't have enough energy, they quickly become weak and exhausted. A simple walk to the shop might become a taxing endeavor due to poor diet. 9. Industrially produced cakes taste like joy and smell like youth, but they hide ingredients that are extremely detrimental to leg health, especially in the mature stage. These goods are loaded with hydrogenated fat, processed sugar, and artificial preservatives that aggravate the body and interfere with metabolism. In particular, sugar promotes the accumulation of body fat and interferes with insulin activity. This leads to obesity and creates a metabolic environment that is detrimental to maintaining muscle mass. Another significant feature of these cakes is the presence of trans fats, which are used to enhance flavor and prolong shelf life. These fats impair blood flow by increasing bad cholesterol and decreasing good cholesterol. Leg muscles degenerate due to poor blood circulation, which deprives them of necessary nutrients. Lean mass loss, joint stiffness, and potentially mobility issues could result from this over time. Regular consumption of industrially produced cakes is also linked to chronic inflammation, which is one of the main causes of joint pain and muscle weakness. Among other components, emulsifiers, stabilizers, and colors affect the immune system and result in inflammatory reactions that primarily affect the joints in the legs. The results include increased discomfort, decreased mobility, and a cycle of sedentarism that leads to muscle atrophy. These cakes are tasty, but they are not very nutritious. In other words, they are high in calories but low in essential nutrients like proteins, calcium, and magnesium, which are critical for the health of muscles and bones. Consuming this type of food frequently is like attempting to fuel your body with polluted gasoline. Your muscles, which are the engine in this scenario, do not respond in the same manner. Instead, it displays slowness, fatigue, and failures. We frequently make snap decisions since eating meals is so convenient. However, baking cakes at home with whole flours, fruits, and natural oils can be just as convenient as buying a pre-made one. The difference lies in how this decision will impact your body over the medium and long term. As you retrain your palate, your muscles will appreciate more firmness, attitude, and energy. Yetavde. Ultra-processed cheeses, such as spreads, processed slices, and melted cheeses, may appear tasty and handy, but they pose serious risks to those who wish to keep their legs strong after the age of 60. These meals, which are high in saturated fat and sodium, have two effects on the vascular and muscle systems. Sodium raises blood pressure and encourages fluid retention. Because saturated fat weakens blood vessel elasticity, circulation is hampered. This combination makes these legs feel heavier, more bloated, and more uncomfortable. In addition, ultra-processed cheeses often contain phosphates and preservatives, among other substances that alter the body's mineral balance. This directly affects calcium and magnesium, two elements essential for bone health and muscle contraction. Muscle fatigue, joint pain, and even cramping at night are symptoms of improper absorption of these minerals. The leg muscles are the first to exhibit warning signs since they are large and often used. The absence of beneficial grade proteins in these cheeses is another important factor. Ultra-processed cheeses are subjected to industrial processes that reduce their nutritional density in contrast to artisanal cheeses, which better maintain their nutritional profile. This means your body is not obtaining the amino acids it needs to maintain muscle mass, even while you are eating calories. One of the main factors contributing to functional decline and reliance as people age is muscle loss. Have you ever noticed that your body feels heavier and less motivated after eating a lot of processed foods? This is real and is caused by these products' demineralizing and inflammatory properties. Lack of essential nutrients causes bone deterioration and a reduction in muscle function over time. Short walks require more work than they should, and seemingly simple steps end up becoming a barrier. The type of cheese you put on your toast can affect everything. Using fresher, less processed cheeses, such mayonnaise, cottage, or ricotta, in place of these foods is a smart approach to stay healthy. And keep in mind that this movie's most important finding is just around the corner. The two worst vitamins for your legs are still to come. Seventh, commercial ice creams are one of the most popular foods on hot days or as a dessert, despite the fact that they are extremely harmful to leg health after the age of 60. Due to their high content of refined sugar and saturated fats, these foods are high in calories and inflammatory. Blood sugar levels rise and then quickly fall as a result of this type of diet, threatening the stability of muscle energy. The legs become weak, heavy, and more prone to fatigue as a result of this instability. The cardiovascular system is harmed by the saturated fat included in ice cream, especially low-quality varieties. It is difficult for oxygenated blood to get to the legs and other extremities of the body. Numbness, tingling, and even persistent cramps are the outcome. Long-term effects of this circulation deficiency include decreased mobility, weakened muscles, and an increased risk of falls. We have long believed that we are simply taking care of ourselves. Additionally, the artificial colors, thickeners, and emulsifiers included in industrial ice creams exacerbate inflammation in the body. This silent inflammation is a major contributor to injury to muscle and joint tissue. Continued use of these products promotes hormonal and digestive disorders that have a direct impact on the absorption of essential nutrients for muscular growth. The body cannot remain steady and robust over time without proper diet. The fact that these meals don't actually offer any nutritional benefit is another significant element. They are high in empty calories and do not nourish joints, repair tissues, or create muscle. This implies that the sense of fatigue persists and may even intensify while ingesting something enjoyable. It's obvious how it affects the legs: reduced tolerance to physical exercise, increased everyday pain, and decreased firmness. The body loses the chance to strengthen itself with each mouthful. Milk chocolates are a staple in many people's daily routines, whether they are consumed as a dessert or as a midday treat. However, frequent use of them can have more detrimental effects than initially thought, especially on the legs of people over 60. These chocolates, which are high in sugar and saturated fat, encourage inflammatory processes that have a direct impact on muscles and joints. The combination of inadequate fat and high glucose leads to metabolic overload, which accelerates the loss of muscle mass. Another problem with milk chocolate is its low cocoa content, which is where the beneficial antioxidants are located. The majority of commercial versions result in a highly processed product that is laden with artificial sweeteners and preservatives. In addition to harming the pancreas and liver, these substances interfere with the body's ability to absorb essential nutrients for healthy muscles. The outcome? Legs that are tired and lacking in energy are more prone to pain and stiffness. These chocolate's simple sugars are quickly absorbed, leading to insulin spikes that deplete muscle energy. This unpredictability is disastrous for those who already struggle to maintain lean mass. Additionally, milk chocolate has occasionally been connected to an increase in stomach weight, which makes the tension on the lower limbs worse. The knee, hip, and ankle joints deteriorate as a result of this ongoing strain. However, happy times can still be had with healthy substitutes. Chocolates with a high cocoa content contain flavonoids and antioxidants that support muscles and circulation. Moderate consumption of these foods can even improve vascular health. Selection and quantity are crucial, and they are always motivated by awareness and balance. Even though canned meals are highly convenient, they contain a number of substances that can seriously harm the health of the legs as people age. Colors, salt, and other chemicals are used in the majority of these products, along with artificial preservatives like sodium benzoates and nitrite. These chemicals damage the health of the muscles and arteries and cause severe inflammation. When consumed frequently, they prevent muscles from oxygenating and hinder the process of muscular regeneration. Furthermore, one of the primary causes of the sensation of heavy and painful legs is fluid retention, which is encouraged by the additional salt in canned foods. In addition to causing pain, this retention could also be an indication of tissue inflammation and insufficient circulation. The problem worsens in people with hypertension, which is common beyond the age of 60, because the extra salt strains the heart and jeopardizes the muscle's ability to get essential nutrients. Another issue with canned goods is their declining nutritional value. Even canned vegetables and meats undergo processes that deplete them of the majority of their natural nutrients. The result is a diet that is high in toxins that the body must fight to eliminate, but poor in vitamins and minerals. Muscle function is compromised, and energy is depleted by this metabolic stress. The persistent fatigue and limb weakness can be more related to your diet than you think. Additionally, the aluminum in some cans can accumulate in the body over time, albeit in very small amounts. There are indications that regular consumption of meals stored in metal containers may have negative effects on the neurological system and muscle performance. This increases the risk of falls, imbalances, and progressive deterioration, a gamble that, considering the alternatives available, simply doesn't pay off. A crucial first step for those who want to keep their mobility is to choose fresh, frozen, or naturally preserved foods instead of canned ones. Cooking with real ingredients and no artificial additives has almost immediate health benefits. It's also a decision that protects your independence and standard of living over time. If you think that just processed foods harm your legs, know that there is much more to learn. We'll talk about the 2 most dangerous vitamins for muscle health shortly. You might be shocked to learn the truth about these pills. Processed snacks and loaded cookies are common munchies. However, consuming them after the age of 60 may accelerate the loss of leg strength. These foods are actually harmful to the body since they contain a lot of artificial ingredients, such as flavorings, colors, stabilizers, and preservatives. They directly impair circulation and the absorption of nutrients required for the musculature, aggravating the body, and putting stress on critical organs such as the kidneys and liver. These foods are heavy in calories and lacking in fiber, proteins, and minerals. In other words, they offer relatively little nutrition and a lot of calories. Because the body no longer stores nutrients as it once did, this can be very detrimental to the elderly. The natural loss of muscle mass that comes with aging must be compensated for by a richer, more functional diet. Consuming foods heavy in salt, sugar, and hydrogenated fat only speeds up this deterioration. The type of fat utilized in these products, known as trans fats, is another serious problem. This type of synthetic fat is one of the main causes of inflammation in the modern diet. In addition to obstructing arteries, they also prevent blood that is rich in nutrients and oxygen from reaching the muscles. Inadequate hydration of the leg muscles causes pain, fatigue, and occasionally a wobbly sensation. The fragility is instilled subtly but steadily. Additionally, these meals' high sodium content leads to fluid retention, which exacerbates the edema in the lower limbs. Leg swelling is a clear sign of trouble. Chronic aches, a feeling of weightiness when walking, and varicose veins are all made possible by poor nutrition and impaired circulation. Apparently harmless appetizers could be the source of all of this. Additionally, the glucose levels in these cookies and snacks rise and then quickly fall, weakening the body and causing a constant craving for more food. This vicious loop encourages weight gain and depletes muscle energy. The more you depend on this type of substance, the less you can maintain strong, healthy, and functional legs in day-to-day activities. This condition has already completely changed by replacing the natural bars. 3. Monosodium glutamate is found in many processed foods, such as pre-made spices, fast noodles, meat broths, packet soups, and many frozen-ready meals. This additive is intended to enhance food flavor, but its effects on the human body extend well beyond taste. Monosodium consumption on a daily basis can be detrimental to those over 60, especially to the muscles in the legs. Via the neurological system, monosodium alters essential neurotransmitters that regulate muscle contraction. Those who are particularly vulnerable to this chemical may experience headaches, tingling, muscular aches, and general fatigue. Feelings of weight, stiffness, and even mild tremors are caused when these effects manifest in the legs. The problem worsens with age as the body becomes more vulnerable to excitotoxic substances that damage neurons. Moreover, monosodium glutamate results in chronic inflammation of the body. This inflammation impairs circulation and muscle function in the extremities by affecting blood vessels, joints, and muscles. Legs with low oxygen levels are much more likely to experience muscle weakness, cramping, and decreased mobility. Leg edema and fluid retention are made worse by the fact that many foods high in monosodium are also slightly high in sodium. Muscle glucose consumption is changed by this addition, since it also has an impact on energy metabolism. This reduces the muscle's ability to convert energy into strength, which puts the legs at risk, even for simple tasks like short-distance walking or stair climbing. This diet may eventually result in a loss of muscle mass and an increased need for assistance with everyday duties. Many people don't know how much monosodium they typically consume. It is concealed on product labels under a variety of names, such as hydrolyzed protein, yeast extract, flavor enhancer, and other technical terms that mask its true function. The objective is to avoid highly processed meals and artificial seasonings in favor of natural flavors such as fresh herbs, garlic, onion, lemon, and olive oil. We will now reveal the 2 worst vitamins that might weaken your legs if taken in excess. Second, too much vitamin A. Many body functions such as immunity, skin integrity, and vision depend on vitamin A. However, excessive amounts of vitamin A, especially from supplements, can be detrimental and have a variety of adverse effects, including on the muscles in the legs. The body finds it more difficult to metabolize and eliminate excess amounts of this vitamin after the age of 60. which increases the risk of liver and joint accumulation. M. The most common symptom of hypervitaminosis, A, is USS soreness, especially in the back and legs. This soreness may be mistaken for joint or spinal concerns, even though it is caused by an excess of vitamin, which irritates the muscle tissues. In addition to discomfort, complaints of muscle weakness, difficulty walking, climbing stairs, or getting up from extended sitting are clear signs that nutritional balance has been upset. The absorption of other essential minerals, such as calcium and magnesium, is also hampered by excessive vitamin A. When these minerals are deficient, the muscles are unable to contract and relax properly, which leads to fatigue, leg cramps, and spasms. Moreover, hepatic vitamin A accumulation may hinder energy production, hence jeopardizing muscle performance. Strength and mobility gradually deteriorate as a result. Bone demineralization is another negative consequence of too much vitamin A. This weakens the bones and increases the risk of fractures, particularly in the legs and hips, which are heavily utilized in daily life. The effects are far more detrimental to people who have osteopenia or osteoporosis. Therefore, vitamin A supplements should only be taken as directed by a doctor and at always regulated dosages. Self-medication is one of the main causes of these hidden problems. Because vitamin A is found naturally in foods including liver, egg yolks, whole milk, carrots, and pumpkin, a balanced diet can replace the need for supplementation. The danger begins with exaggeration, especially in enriched products or powerful supplements. Therefore, overall intake needs to be constantly monitored, accounting for all sources, including multivitamins. First, too much vitamin D is particularly recommended for the elderly and is frequently associated with healthy bones and a functioning immune system. However, few individuals are aware that excessive amounts of it can have serious adverse consequences, including on the legs. An accumulation of this vitamin in the body causes hypervitaminosis D, which is typically caused by excessive dosage. One of the main indicators of this imbalance is muscle soreness. Weakening and a loss of motor coordination accompany it. Since vitamin D is fat-soluble, it is stored in adipose tissues, in contrast to other vitamins that the body rapidly eliminates. Hypercalcemia, or elevated blood calcium levels, can result from too much vitamin D. Leg stiffness, cramping, muscle burning, joint pain, and other associated symptoms are the outcome of this. The electrical impulses that control bodily actions are compromised by hypercalcemia's immediate effects on the muscles and nerves. Additionally, too much vitamin D can cause soft tissues, such as muscles and tendons, to calcify unnecessarily. This suggests that, under stress, areas like the thighs, calves, and knees may become less flexible, stiffer, and more unpleasant. What should be a protecting chemical turns into one that is worn down and constrained. These issues are more likely to occur in older persons who take large doses of vitamin D without a doctor's care. The fact that high vitamin D levels can damage the kidneys, which regulate the balance of minerals in the blood, is another concerning concern. Leg edema, muscle soreness, and a sense of weakness are exacerbated by the renal impact, which is manifested by poor filtration and drug retention. A feedback loop is triggered by this. Increased calcium, increased vitamin D, decreased kidney function, and increased muscle problems. It is important to emphasize that vitamin D supplementation should always be customized based on lab results and physician guidance. Many people consume large quantities on their own because they think they are healthy. When it comes to the legs, excess can be just as harmful as deficiency, and the outcome may be a loss of mobility and self-reliance. Since the channel was founded to help you live a better, healthier life, please subscribe. Therefore, if you want to keep receiving the best videos for your health, keep doing so. I'm here to help you. The 3 vitamins that every diabetic should take are shown in the video that is currently playing on your screen. Click on the screen to see it in action. Consequently, till the next video.